going on, Lego Maniacs? It's Ty, the Lego guy here, and welcome to another Lego Star Wars comparison. Today, we're taking a look at every single X-Wing fighter that Lego's ever made. Now, this does not include the junior sets, the mini builds, the sequel X-Wings, just the standard original trilogy minifig scale X-Wing fighters. And these span all the way from 1999 to 2021. So it's kind of crazy. We're gonna check out the differences, how Lego's changed over the years, and maybe which one's the best. And if you're looking at purchasing any one of these, which one you should maybe go for, depending on what you're looking for. But anyways, this should get interesting, but enough talk. Let's get right into it. And to start us off, we'll actually begin with the 1999 X-Wing fighter. That's set 7140. It had 266 pieces, 4 minifigs, retailed for $30 US. And again, it came out in 1999. So we'll give you guys a 360 view of her. Nice looking model. It is dated by today's standards and it is in that old gray. But we're gonna break it down. This also included a couple awesome looking little minifigs. I do have individual reviews for a lot of these sets if you want to take a little bit more of a look at them. And it also came with a little maintenance speeder. But yeah, let's now take a look at the X-Wing. Now, the first thing I wanted to mention is this set actually has some nice printed pieces, as you guys will notice on the front here, and the little Rebel insignias. Let's actually show you guys the cockpit. It opens up to reveal another very nice little printed piece. The other thing that's nice about it too is it has some nice little compartments to store things. Actually, a lot of compartments. In the back here, you can kind of store his lightsaber. And to literally get this in attack position, so it has these landing pieces. You take those off if you want to put it into flight mode. And to put it into, its S-folds into attack position, you literally just raise it. So it's pretty basic. But you know what, it gets the job done. It's not perfect by any means, but it was good for 1999. Anyways, that pretty well does the 1999 X-Wing. Let's now take a look at the 2004. So that's set 4502. It had 563 pieces, 3 minifigs, retailed for $50 US, and again, it came out in 2004. Now what's really cool about this X-Wing fighter is it included Yoda's hut. So we're not going to actually take a look at that. If you want to see the individual review, I do have one out. But I just wanted to mention that it does include it. It also has some awesome minifigs. And this was a huge improvement over the 1999 model, as you guys can see. What's funny is they actually also gave Luke a green lightsaber, so they got that wrong. And they included some swamp pieces if you wanted to make it go into the swamp. But now let's take a look at the X-Wing. And the first thing I wanted to mention is actually a massive improvement off of the 1999. For this one, if you want to take it out of landed form, you literally just raise that like so. There's no extra pieces and it works perfect. It also has a nice little compartment to keep his wrong green lightsaber. And the other thing that's really good about it is the S-folds. Literally, you just rotate this Technic toggle and bang, she's in attack position. So I just think that this one's really good. It's very difficult to actually improve on it. The other thing that's nice about it too is it has a nice little cockpit, just like the last one with that printed Death Star piece. And yeah, that pretty well does the model. I'll show you guys the engines again. I just think that this one was fantastic, especially for its time. Let's now take a look at the 2006 model. And in 2006, they barely changed it, as you guys can see. But that's set 6212. It had 437 pieces, 6 minifigs, retailed for $50 US as well. And again, it came out in 2006. So it's very interesting. Barely changed it, but you know what? If it's not broke, don't fix it. And that's definitely true of this X-Wing. What is cool about it though, is it gave you 6 awesome figs, which is kind of unheard of. It's the most figs that ever have been included in a X-Wing. But let's now take a look at the model itself. And this one pretty well is identical to the last one. There may be a couple different pieces and different colors, but all in all, it's pretty well the same. The S-folds work the same way. We won't even actually show that just because it is identical. The cockpit is also pretty well the same. So it's kind of crazy. There wasn't much improvements over it in the last 2 years, and I can definitely understand why. This is just a fantastic looking model. Let's now move on to the 2012. But before we do that, there's one last thing I wanted to mention, which is actually the first time Lego ever did this. You could actually change it from red 5 to red 2 by just putting in these 1x1 little bricks and swapping out the 1x4 plate. So anyways, I thought that was actually pretty cool. Let's now move on to the 2012. And here we have the 2012 X-Wing. So that's set 9493. It had 560 pieces, 4 minifigs, retailed for $60 US, and it came out in 2012. This was obviously a big step up off of the 2006. It obviously does not look very similar to it at all. But I think it honestly was a bit for the better. I don't think it's a huge improvement over the last, but I do think it is definitely noticeable. The other thing that's nice about it as well is just like the 2006, it had 2 extra little pieces that you could literally make it red 6 instead of red 5. But let's now take a look at the X-Wing. And what's interesting about this X-Wing is they've actually really improved on the actual blasters. I think that they look great. They have a little area for the torpedoes, and you can actually just lift it like the 2006 and 2004, and now it's in flight mode. The other thing that was cool about it is it actually had some sticker pieces right here to kind of give the engines a little bit more detail. And the cockpit, as we lose a piece, actually had an interesting new computer piece. And here she is. So not a bad looking computer. I still prefer the 1999 one, but that was a difference. With this and previous models, it is a sticker piece as well, but I think it gets the job done. The other key difference with this X-Wing is kind of how the S-folds work. So you know how the last one had a toggle, a Technic toggle? This one has that as well, except you literally just have to raise it like so, and now it's in attack position. You don't have to continue to spin it, and then if you want to put it back into flight mode, it's really simple. This X-Wing is definitely an improvement over the 2004 and 2006, but I don't think it's as drastic as the 1999 to 2004. Let's now take a look at the 2018. And here it is. So that's set 75218. It had 731 pieces, 4 minifigs, retailed for $80 US, and it came out in 2018. Now piece-wise, this is the largest X-Wing. It's also the most expensive X-Wing. Nice looking engines though. We're gonna take a little bit more of a look at that. And the other thing that's interesting about it as well is you could actually change it just like the previous models by just putting on a different plate piece, and it would make it red 3. It also included these very interesting helmets. This was one of the few sets, if the only set, that included those double molded Rebel helmets, and yeah, there's a lot of mixed opinions about them. Let's now take a look at the X-Wing. And the first thing you'll probably notice about this X-Wing is it is the most detailed. It has the most stickers. Not a sticker guy, although I do like the detail it does add. It's also armed to the teeth. If you look at all the spring-loaded shooters and stud shooters, a lot of playability if you're a kid. They also changed the computer piece, which was interesting. And also the cockpit window is a little bit different. To literally stick it into flight mode, you just raise it like so, very similar back all the way to the 2004 model. And this is my favorite way to stick it in attack position. It's just like so. Now it's in attack position, and literally to put it back, you just push that button in. And all in all, I think this is maybe my favorite X-Wing. Just has some very nice detail, and it's really hard to beat. But let's now take a look at the 2021. And we'll begin by giving you guys a 360 view. This is set 75301. It has 474 pieces, 4 minifigs, came out again in 2021, and it retails for $50 US. So this is definitely a step down as far as size goes compared to the 2012 and 2018. Although I actually still think it's quite a good looking model, and it's not that small. Like, this set, we're gonna find out, is actually very similarly sized to the 2004 and 2006, which isn't a bad thing. It also includes some nice looking minifigs, the first time that we get General Dodona. But yeah, let's now take a look at the X-Wing. And the first thing you'll probably notice is this one's actually quite similar to the 2018 in the sense that it has a lot of stickers, which isn't bad, adds some nice detail. And actually, I'll show you guys the cockpit. Same computer piece is used in this one as was used in the 2018. Little smaller cockpit, but not the end of the world. It also has spring-loaded shooters, although it only has 2 of them, not 4. Now, what I really like about this set is how it utilizes its S-folds. Now, literally, you see this little Technic button? You click it, and bang, it's in attack position. And to stick it into landed position or flight mode, you just sit it on a table, and it works really smart. You can't put the landing gear in, which is kind of unfortunate, but it's not the end of the world, just because it doesn't really stick out too much. And the engines are also fantastic looking. They look very similar to the 2018, basically identical. Let's now actually compare all 6 of these side by side. And now we've come to the comparison portion of the video. This is really cool, seeing how Lego's kind of changed over the years. So the 1999 model is by far the smallest of the 6. I used to think that the 2021 one was the same size. However, the 2021 one is actually very similarly sized to the 2006 and 2004. It's definitely not the smallest of the 6. But yeah, starting with 1999, that's how it kind of looks. Then you've moved on to 2004, 2006, which these two are basically identical, which is really kind of crazy. I mean, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Then in 2012, we saw some massive changes. We also saw sort of an increase in size. It actually is a little bit longer. Hopefully that's translating on camera. And then in 2018, the 2018 may be the biggest. I think the 2018 and the 2012 are very similarly sized. And then you have the 2021 and the 2018. And as you guys can see, it's just a little bit littler. Like it's, here, I'll just show this. Let's just put it right on top. Kind of gives the best comparison. It's just a bit smaller, and that's back to back, right? So not a bad model. It's actually not as small as a lot of people think. Then if you take it and you compare it against the if it will stay, the 2006 version, it's actually nearly identical in size, which is actually kind of crazy. Let's just put it here. I think that's so cool. They're all, the old 3 of these, let's actually just stand them up like so. See what I mean? They're nearly identical. So it's kind of interesting to see how they've all changed. Let's take the 1999 one though. It's puny, it's like it's the baby of the family. And then let's take a larger one, let's say the 2012. And it may not be much taller, but it's just a wider overall X-Wing. Anyways, that pretty well does the comparison. Let's now get into the end of the review and get my final thoughts. Well guys, that was my comparison. Do hope you enjoyed it. Honestly, every one of these X-Wings has positives going for them. I personally love them all. I think even back in 1999, they did a decent job at the X-Wing. It may be the best 1999 model they ever made. However, in 2004, they really started to up their game. This X-Wing was fantastic, along with obviously the 2006, which was actually very, very similar to the 2004 as we saw. And what's interesting is this X-Wing, everyone says it's undersized, but it's actually identically sized to the 2004 and 2006 as we saw. So that's actually quite interesting. It's actually not that undersized. I do still quite like it, but if I'm gonna give it to any 2 X-Wings or 1 X-Wing, I absolutely love the 2018 and the 2012. I just think that they are the best. However, I don't think that the 2004, 2006, and 2021 ones are bad models. They're actually pretty decent. But let me know what your guys' thoughts are on these ones. Which one you maybe like, which one's your favorite. I just think they all got a lot going for them, and I don't think that the 2021 actually deserves the hate it gets. I actually think it's a pretty decent model. But yeah, that's all I got for you today. But if you like this video, leave it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, definitely consider subscribing and click that bell so you're notified for any future LEGO Star Wars comparisons, reviews, etc. We do something like this every Tuesday, and I really enjoy doing them. But yeah, that's all I got for you again. But thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.